Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Boundary. Just two coaches chatting cricket. You're with your favorite hosts. I'm hoping by now we're a favorite, but you're with us, Ulu Babalo, and I'm with my mate, Spinach. Spinach, how's it going, my man? Uh,
All good, Coach Lou.
I'm sure you're as happy as I am after what happened in the last couple of days.
Yeah, we finally conquered what? We finally conquered some spin for once. We've struggled in the subcontinent for a while now. So coming back not just with the test win, but with the test series win is very good news for us.
Definitely, Coach Ara, and that's exactly one of the reasons why today we are having this chat. That's one of the things that we want to talk about. I remember our issues against spin or our issues in the subcontinent were highlighted. Was it in the 2015-2014 season? We still had Hash, AB. I think JP was also still there. We went to India. I think we won the ODI series 3-2. We dominated for the first three. I think it was the first three or the first two, and then the coach suddenly wanted rank turners. They won the next two ODIs, and then when we went to the test matches, oh god, it was horrible, coach. I'm not sure if you remember that series, but that is when our issues against Spain were properly highlighted to the public that hey, you know what, South Africans actually cannot play spin or struggle against spin.
Uh, there's been a few series where we've gone to India and we've had big issues. I think the first one, the the one that stays on my head, in my head and in my heart, the longest is the one that ended our dominant away test record, where we were, I think, 7, 8 years unbeaten away from home, and then we went to India and we played on a few. I don't understand, sand pits and some beach tracks there. So and really struggle. So since then, I've had issues with with Indian beaches and spinners, maybe even more than the South African batters. So who've really struggled in the subcontinent. But since that series, then I've really worried when we go into the subcontinent and felt worried for our boys.
Yeah, and these subcontinent countries are unforgiving when it comes to preparing pitches that suit them. This is one of the reasons why I always hope whenever they come to SA, we also dish out some fast bouncy pitches for them. But today, one of the first things that we want to talk about is the series against the Bangladesh. When we went to Bangladesh, I don't think a lot of people would have given us a chance based on our record in the last couple of years. But we went there. There were a number of questions around the whole squad in general. Aiden Markram, we were without Utemba Bavuma, who has been our leading run scorer in the last couple of years. We've got a number three who's still trying to find his feet. Basically, our whole squad, we had more question around the squad than more questions around the squad than answers. What are your thoughts just on the whole series in terms of how it went? And is there anything that you think we need to brush up on for the next series?
You talk about just us having issues and us having going there with question marks over our heads. It was also the fact that Bangladesh had just gone through a series where they beat Pakistan, batted really well, scored a lot of runs in one of the innings there. So we were going in not only worried about our issues, but worried about an opposition that had been performing of late and had were ready to beat South Africa in a test match and in a test series. So going there with our batting problems, but a lot of questions were asked about will we be able to take 20 wickets? Do we have enough in that bowling lineup? Yes, not to question people like KG and Keshav Maharaj, but it was just a matter of do we have enough resources to support them to go out there and take those 20 wickets, going to the subcontinent, knowing that your seam is not going to be your main weapon, which uh, having KG turned out to be our main weapon. Who, when you have KG, it seems no pitch or no conditions are too tough for him at the moment. So going into the series, we had a lot of questions, and to answer them the way that we did, 3 centuries in one game, the wickets, fivers for Keshav, fivers for KG. So doing that emphatically as we did and dominating, especially the second test, has to put pride into the fans and to the team.
Yeah, no, definitely, Coach Ara. And it could have easily been three, four actually centuries. Just assuming that Muthusami would have been able to convert. Unfortunately, we had to put the team first, even though I feel we could have given him a chance to just go for it. Maybe say we're giving you 20 minutes to try and get. He was on 68 of 75. We're giving you 20 minutes or so to try and get to 100. And if you don't get there, then we're gonna declare. But then again, the team comes first. But I think he's someone who came in and I don't want to say prove people wrong, but he came in and he showed what he can do. To be honest, he's one of those people that personally I've always had questions around, especially when I see them getting picked. I always question whether we'll be able to use him, how we're going to use him. I mean, we've got Cash bowls slow left arm, Mothasami bowled slow left arm, but even with his bowling, he came in and he showed that him and Cash are not necessarily the arms, but they're not necessarily the same. And I think he brought a different dimension to the bowling attack as well to some extent. He was unfortunate not to get his 5 wickets. I feel like Ukesh stole that fifer away from him. But looking at the fact that Vian Mulder came in at 7, Senaran Mutasami came in at 8, they both had a proper partnership. They scored runs. Mutasami took wickets. How do you think now this affects the balance, or how do you think it would affect the thinking of the coach now? We had Dane Pitt. Remember, Dane Pitt had to come back from the USA, and I'd like to believe that the coach was involved in him making the decision to come back. So I'm assuming that maybe there was a conversation between him and the coach that you will be our second spinner, which is probably why we saw someone like Simon Hammer no longer in the equation. Now, how does this affect this whole thing? Now, you've got Umo Susami who's come in, took wickets, scored runs. You've got Dane Pete who's come back, hasn't bowled well. He got a 5 on his return, yes, but he hasn't bowled well at Bangladesh in the first test. He's also scored a bit of runs. Do you think this then now affects who becomes our second spinner, or do you think the coach should continue with Dane Pete, considering the fact that he had retired from international cricket and he had moved on from South Africa, but we sort of fetched him when we needed him most, and he was there. He did not say no, 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 no.
I feel like right now it's going to be a while until we have to worry about that a lot. But right now, I feel like we just need to be picking our best lineup, and if what the coach wants right now is that all-rounder capability, because what we've been having in the past few test matches is we're batting down to 8. We've had Mutasami in this one at 8. We've had Vian Mulder in the last one at 8. Even in was it the West Indies before that, Jan Mulder played sort of as a bowler and batted a little lower down. So we've gone in with a lot more batting in the past few games, and that's the balance. If that's the balance that the coach wants, that's the balance that we have to play. Especially if that balance is still working for us, as it's won us a Test series now in the subcontinent. I do believe, though, for the next series coming to South Africa, so the next two series being Pakistan and Sri Lanka, we might just swap one all rounder for another and have Marco Janssen coming in for the spinner in our local conditions, and that then still has this lineup where we bat all the way till 8. So on the beat part, we can't be too sentimental now and say we've we've taken him sort of out of retirement or taken him from USA to bring him to South Africa. I think Pete, I don't know him personally, but he should be he would be happy to have been called up and played for the Proteas again when he had thought his Proteas career was over. He's been given the chance. The fact that the door is still open, he can still put in performances locally and come back. It's not like we're saying now that just because Mutasami has had a better performance than him in Bangladesh, that door is closed. But we're not going to pick him because we took him out of USA. We're going to pick him because he performs and is the best option for us. I think that should be the way forward for us now.
Spot on, brother. There's definitely no place for sentiment, especially because we are trying to push for that spot in that final. Even though if we do make it to the final, please update me on the score. I will not be watching another cricket final. Two two other names that I want us to talk about. One of those names is a name that you and I love so much. It's a name that you and I we rate this name. Timber was absent. He was captain. I didn't necessarily pay too much attention to his captaincy. Personally, I felt we would have won this series even if Ustabs was made captain. I could be wrong. But in terms of batting, he hasn't had, just recently, he hasn't had the best of times. And there are a lot of people calling for his head. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's time we move away from Aiden, or do you think it's time we drop Aiden Makram? Bearing in mind that even if we drop him, he's most likely going to go back to domestic cricket, bully each and every bowler we have in the circuit, and then he's going to come back. How do we go around the Aiden Makram issue?
It's a really tough one there because with with a lot of players when they're really out of form, which I don't even want to say Aiden's out of form, people look hopeless, as in that they look like they do not know how to hold batting. The difference with Aiden Markram is he never looks too terrible. He looks fine, then he finds a way to get out, which is the most frustrating part for the fans, I'm sure frustrating part for himself, frustrating for the team, because I'm not saying he looks in form because he doesn't look like the best Aiden ever, but he still, especially that second test, he looked in control, he looked like he knew what was happening, and then they found a way to come down the wicket and chip one to mid on and get out on a road where everyone was going to be scoring runs. So it's really tricky. And another thing is, I don't think there is an opening batsman in domestic cricket right now who's tearing down the door. Because Ryan Rickelton is in the squad right now, and he hasn't taken that chance. Because I think we joked last week that he could be the one who just scores the runs and makes that decision difficult for us. Makes it when Temba comes back, are we really dropping Ryan Rickelton who has scored so many runs? But the fact that he hasn't put the runs down and made this difficult, I feel like Aiden by default is going to be stuck with for a while now.
You mentioned Urix. He's another one that I want us to go to go to. But I have just to follow up from a coaching perspective now. Do we think Aiden has an issue with temperament, or do we think there's something else that is wrong with Aiden Makram? I don't believe it's the technique. A lot of people have been saying his technique is not suitable for an opener. His technique, he should be batting at 4. I don't necessarily agree. My opinion is just that whether we move him from opener to number 4, he's still going to be the same Aiden. From my point of view, I think Aiden is just one of those. We should just allow him to not be your typical test batsman. I think maybe he struggles there. He struggles to find that, I don't know, that common ground or that thin line between the two, between being an old-fashioned, typical test batsman and being Aiden, the Aiden that we know, who's going to play his cover drives, who's going to play his back foot punches and just be him. And I think, I don't know what happens in the team. I don't know what is said to him, but at times I've always felt like he's trying to slow himself down a bit too much at times, which leads to him going out. I could be wrong, but from your coaching point of view now, what do you think could be the issue with Aiden Makram? Because, like you said, you highlighted that he's going to give you an exquisite 30 runs, a beautiful 20 runs, and then gives it away just like that.
Honestly, I think if I knew the answer now, I would be calling up a few guys, getting into that test team and sorting this man out. But it can't be temperament, because it never looks like he was rash. He was trying to do. He just seems to be going through a weird patch. And you saying him coming back to the Titans and dominating, and that might be what he needs, maybe. But it feels like it's always the same cycle where he comes back to the Proteas, scores a few runs, we think he's back, and we're loving it again, and then he goes through a small patch, and then he goes back to the Titans, dominates, scores 100 after 100, and then we bring him back. We need something to change. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Maybe if now it's time to just stick it out with him. If we make this test championship, we'll make it with this top order. So if he doesn't crack it for the next series at home against Sri Lanka, series at home against Pakistan, then we might start discussing what to do with him. But now I think we just need to stick it out. Maybe what you're saying is true. Let him loose. Let Aiden play a little more attacking, a little freer. Maybe that's the trick. But right now we have to stick with them. I think we're sticking with that top 6, the one that we know now, to be Tony Tizosi, Aiden Markram, Tristan Stubbs. Temba is getting, who should be fit back at home. So we have him at 4. Then we have Perez at 5, and then we'll have the keeper, I think, if things happen the way the coach wants it, at 6, and then our all-rounders.
Yeah, no, spot on there. I'm 100% with you there. I actually think that's the approach we need to take now as a country when it comes to selecting players and dropping players. Because even for a guy like Rix, we're gonna talk about him now. Even for a guy like Rix, they will drop him, he will still score runs. We saw even in the T20s, he took a bit of time to get going. Do we do the same thing with him in Test cricket? But I think the worst thing for him in the Test side is that he is going to be in and out, which is another thing that we will use as an argument to say, no, he's not finding his feet because he's in and out. But the only way for him to stay there is for him to score runs. And if those runs are not coming, he's going to be in and out of the team until maybe someone retires, someone gets injured for a longer period of time, or I don't know. But I think that's the approach we need to take with Aiden, because sending him back to the Titans is going to score 120 in a 4-day match, is going to score 115 in a 4-day match, and then he's going to come back And this is another thing that I always question about a lot of people that follow cricket. Aiden Makram is going to be dropped from the Proteas. I'm making an example. He's going to score runs in domestic cricket. And people are going to question our bowlers instead of questioning Aiden Makram when it goes to international cricket. It's okay for a player to be too good for domestic cricket and not be good enough for international cricket. A certain name that comes up is Graham Hick. I'm sure it's a name that a lot of people know. But the other question that I had is Orion Rickleton. Do we keep him in the squad? Mind you, he's got a contract. Do we keep him in the test squad? Or do we say, my brother, we've given you so and so opportunities. Now it's time for us to go for Matthew Bretzke because he's another one who's been scoring runs, has been performing. Or do we say, Bretzke, you can wait for a bit, we will persist with Ryan Rickleton, and then after this whole championship, then we can start bringing in new players and start dropping guys who haven't been performing.
I think we've got the luxury of the series being at home, and then we could carry smaller squads or even bigger squads, and depending on how you look at it. So we can keep Ryan Rickleton because he covers both middle order batter, higher and top order batsman, and he's a keeper. So he's, I think, still gonna be ahead in that line in line with against Matthew Breshke. But having Matthew Breshke around as well to be cover for the top order is also an option. But when it comes to Ricks, I like the fact that he's already had a performance under him in international cricket. Yes, it was for in white ball cricket, but that just I think shows him that he can do it. So having that performance under your belt in international cricket, we can wait now along T20 series against India coming up. He's been selected again. Hopefully, he gets a run in those games, get some runs there. I think things like that will help him get confidence and let him show his way. Because all he needs to do, not this series, but the chances before that he's had, it seemed like he struggled with the gear that he needs to play in Test cricket. Sometimes he feels like he's into a shell and bogs down, and then tries to hit his way out of that. And that's just him finding his own gear in Test cricket. And I think he'll figure that out as more as he gets a chance.
Yeah, no, spot on. The test series against Bangladesh, for me, I think the team did really well. Not many of us expected it. Personally, I didn't expect us to lose against Bangladesh, but I was also worried about the spin factor. And I can say kudos to the coach. He got his squad right, regardless of the opinions we may have had regarding the squad. The squad went to Bangladesh, and it proved that this is the correct squad for the Bangladesh tour. And hopefully, we can win the next four test matches that we have and make it to that final, even though I will not be watching the final. Before we wrap it up, Coachy, do you have anything that you want to add with regards to the test match so we can quickly move on to the just have a look at the T20 squad and then we can call it a show?
Small thing. I think we need to look at this gives praise to Vian Mulder and the coach and how the coach has stuck with Vian and given Vian a run. Maybe we were too harsh about Vian batting at 8. Maybe the coach wanted 8, 7. In Sri Lanka, against Sri Lanka is going to 6, and Pakistan is batting 5. Maybe we're going up and we're going to keep him in the team that way. But having Vian finally start showing the the goods with both bat and ball is what we've dreamed of since that picture of him in uniform in that Lions change room. So we've known the talent is there. We're just happy that it's starting to show for the South African fans who had stopped believing, and for the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, no, and I know a lot of people might be shocked when they see this because there's this, I don't know, there's this belief on social media that I am not a fan of Ian Mulder, but people don't know. People don't know. Even when I criticize Aiden Makram, they don't know how painful it is for me. That's why sometimes I keep quiet when it comes to Aiden Makram. But yeah, we're just giving our opinions. It has nothing to do with us not rating players, but I'm also happy to see Mulder showing a bit of what we have always known that he can do. And for me, if he can do that for the next, we've got about four test matches. If he can do it twice in the next four matches, I'll definitely be happy. We're gonna have someone that gives us someone who's young as also, because he's still very young. So he becomes an option at 4 and 5, which is a good thing. Having an all-rounder that bats in the top 5 is a blessing, because even when you need more bowlers in the side, he allows you more room for another all-rounder in your top 7. So yeah, no, I spot on there, coach. I also think, yeah, we need to give props to the coach and props to Vivian Mulder. Maybe the stint in England boosted his confidence as well, and it helped him sharpen up a few of his skills, which was good. So T20 squad against India. Your first thoughts after you saw this?
We know who's opening. That was my first thought. We know who's opening the batting, but I'm very happy to see Don back in the T20 squad. That was, I think they heard us, one of our shows. We had spoken about what's next after David Miller. We need someone in that middle to lower order to come and take over from David Miller. Not now, but just to learn from him and stay around David Miller so we can have more people who know the role of what David Miller does. So that for me is very important, and that's one of the main players that I'm looking forward to watching in the series. Don, Peter, obviously the spinner, and I'm not sure if Michal is going to get a game, but I'd like to also. I'm happy that he's been picked and he's going to get a chance in the squad.
Yeah. And you know, I don't know. I think I'm saying this for the millionth time that we maybe one day need to just have a chat around selection and the possible reasonings behind certain selections, because on our cricket group there was a bit of a debate around Andile Simelane, people questioning his selection. He's 21, hasn't played a lot of games, has a high ceiling. He's definitely one of those selections. I would have liked to see a Brevis as well. You know, both of them have a high ceiling. They're young, yes, but you just want to see what they can do. There's I think Andile was in the previous squad, but we didn't play him. I felt there was a missed opportunity there because we didn't win that series. I felt in the last game we could have played him, but it's okay. I think the biggest question now is around Oriza Hendricks. A lot of people have questions around his selection. We saw what happened at the World Cup, but I think he scored runs after the World Cup, so it's a bit of a tough one. I don't know what your thoughts are in terms of that. Personally, I would have moved on from Reza now. Nothing personal, nothing against him, but I would have moved on from Oriza. I would have even gone as far as trying a Pat Kruger at the top. I've seen him open the batting when he was coming through the ranks. When there was the then Africa Cup T20, he used to play for is it Northern Cape, and he did really well opening the batting. I still think it's something that he can still do. It would be a massive boost for the T20 side to have an all-rounder batting in the top 3 as well. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on Uriza? Do you think we are taking a step in the right direction? Do you think we should persist with him, or do you think it's time maybe we try someone else, someone younger? Because I see even Matthew Bretzker didn't make it into the squad, even though he was, I think, in the last 2 squads.
I started it off by saying we know who's opening. That was me being slightly disappointed in the fact that there was no Matthew Brisket, and it just showed that we'd go with probably Ryan Rickleton and Reza Hendricks at the top. Outside chance of Aiden Markram opening and not having Reza, but I doubt that would happen. Uh, so right now I usually look at squads and take them as in this is what we're going with and this is what you're going to have to support. But I'm with that batting, I feel like another opportunity for Matthew Brisket to come into the squad has been missed. But this coaching team has done things their way and it's been working. So maybe this is also going to work. The squad itself is very strong. That batting lineup is very strong. We've got Klassen back, we've got Miller back, we've got Stubbs, we've got Aiden. So this is probably the best batting team we could have had. There might be a few questions in that all-rounder and bowling department, but this is definitely our best batting team at the moment. So that means the coach still considers Reza Hendricks as one of the best openers in the country right now. And it's nice to also show that it also shows that Ryan Rickleton is the one who's probably taken over from Quinton de Kock, and he's going to be our number one opener as well. So looking at it, we know what Reza can do. We know what Reza has done. He's just not doing it enough at the moment for the Proteas. So let's go back to what I said. We know what he can do, and hopefully he'll do it in these T20s against India again.
Yeah, no, spot on, Coachy. The other thing is, I remember we spoke a bit about Ulungi and how well he was bowling in the last couple of games in white ball cricket. He's not in this squad. He's going to be doing some fitness program so that he can make it to the next T20 test series, the next two test series. I believe that's what Shukri said. I don't um, I think the timing for me was a bit off. I thought maybe while we were in Bangladesh, because I don't think there were plans to play him, he could have been going through that program instead of him missing out on a series whilst he's been bowling well. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, the coaching staff has been doing things that in ways that most of us wouldn't be doing them, and it's been working. I mean, how many we made it to a final, we made it to a semi final. So we're not questioning what they're doing. We're just bringing our own way of thinking and in terms and way of seeing things. So I don't know what your thoughts are. Would you have done the same to try and get Ulungi to play in the test series, bearing in mind that he's not even going to be the first option in terms of the bowling attack?
I always love seeing Lungi bowl. I felt even in the test series now against Bangladesh, I would have liked to see him. If there's anything on the pitch, Lungi's one to get it. So he seems the ball around, he swings the ball, and he's got bounce because he's quite a tall guy. So I always like watching Lungi. You know how big a fan I am of Lungi. So I'll always be disappointed when I don't see Lungi. But having said that, looked at the team and I'm hoping that Luto will finally come back because the Luto that popped into the scene a while ago for the Proteas showed a lot of promise, and it seemed like he went into the wilderness a bit with a few injuries and struggled. But this T20 series now, again, he's looked really sharp. Not T20 series, the T20 tournament that just finished for the Lions. He looked sharp again, and he looked he looked really sharp. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Yes, I would like to have seen Lungi, but I'm actually also looking forward to seeing Luto back. Do not know how they're going to structure the lineup, because T20s you have to play some spin. And looking at the team here, the only spinners we've got is Keshav Maharaj and Ngababita. So probably play both of those. Get your all-rounder in at 7 as well. Probably Marco Jansen because he's had his break, quite a long break, but we have him now. And then he might have a Luto Sipamla and Gerald Coetzee. So
Yeah, but Luto is available
we
for the third and the fourth, ne? Luto is available for the third. Is picked for the third and the fourth T20. So we might see him later in the series.
so in the beginning we might go all rounders with Pat Kruger also coming in. So it's a lot of ways that they're looking at structuring that 11, I think. And right now, Lungi isn't in it, and Lungi won't be in that 11.
Yeah, no, I understand you. You answered my question in many ways than one. But can I recently found out that Uluto's middle name or his other name is Lubabalo. And I would like to appeal to everyone. Can we please start calling Uluto Sipamla Lubabalo on my behalf? On Lubabalo Sipamla on my behalf. But yeah, Coachy, before we wrap it up, I wanna put you, I like putting people in a tight spot, but I'll do it today. I'm not only gonna put you in a tight spot, I'm gonna put you in a tight spot, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. Then we're gonna put our viewers in a tight spot. So what we're gonna do is I want you to name your 11. Please don't give me strokes. Maybe you say Luto stroke who. No, I just want strictly 11. So you're going to say your 11 in terms of batting order up until to number 11. And when we edit, I'm going to put it up next to you. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say my batting order and the players. And I'm going to put it next to me. And whoever's watching, please choose your lineup. You can either choose from ours or you can pick your own lineup. Let's see how you also think. Let's see how you would, if you were the coach. Let's see how you would line the team up. Coachy, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first. I don't want to go left field and you say I took it from you. But is this the lineup we think is going to play, or is this the lineup we would like to see play
No, this is the
from this?
lineup. This is the lineup you would pick from the squad. You're
Ah,
not allowed
beautiful.
you're not allowed to pick from outside of the squad. Let's say there was a selection panel. They've picked this squad for you. How would you select this squad? How would you select from this squad?
I'd open with the keeper batsman Ryan Rickelton, opening with Aiden Markram, Tristan Stubbs at 3, Heinrico Clausen at 4, David Miller at 5, the Don himself can come in at 6. Then my all-rounders at 7, being Pat Kruger, who's shown a very good hitting at, so he can come in at 7, Pat Kruger. Then I've got my spinners, which is Keshav Maharaj. And wait, before Keshav Maharaj, I got Keshav at 9 and Ngaba Pita at 10 with Luto Sipamla. Before Luto gets there, it will be Gerald, but he said from the 15 I'm picking Luto Sipamla, and then Marco Jansen at 8. You muted, Koji. You are muted.
Oh yeah, sorry. I got a bit excited. There. My mine, I'd go with my openers being Riggs and Pat. My number 3, I'd go with Aiden Makram. Number 4, I'd go with Tristan Stubbs. 5, I'd go with Klassen. 6, I would rest David Miller for now. Nothing against Miller. I want to see something. 6, I would rest David Miller. I would go with the Don himself. 7, I would go with Marco Jansen. Then So Marco Jansen. Then my 4 bowlers, it's Ngaba, it's Cash, it's Otas, and it's um wait, where's this name? Oh, this kid, man, Gerald Cotia. So that's how I would line my team up. So basically, what I would do, I would rotate between David Miller and Hendrik Klassen at 5, just for this series, because I'm building towards the World Cup. Ne? So I want to see. I didn't say we must explain, but I feel the need to explain. I'm building towards the World Cup. So for now, I'm not going to have both Miller and Hendrik Klassen playing at the same side, because I want to see what the Don can do. Yabo? So yeah, that would be my team. So ladies and gentlemen, let us know what your team would look like. Who would you pick? If there's someone from outside the squad that you would pick, also let us know. Coach Arab, before we wrap it up, do you want to add anything about the T20? And how do you think the series is going to go?
I'm looking forward to seeing the Indian squad first, and then I think I can make an assessment of how happy I am about the squad. But the squad we've got and we've put out, I did say that batting lineup is powerful, and I'm really happy about it. The bowling lineup, my 11 missed Batman, but you will squeeze him there as 11 and a half. But that's the thing with picking lineups off the top of your head. I'm really looking forward to how we start again T20s and getting into the next cycle and trying to get into the ready for the next World Cup, which we're winning here at home. So I'm looking forward to what we put out on the table at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree. We will win the next World Cup, but I shall not be watching that final. I'll find something to do, even if I take a walk. It's fine. Coach Ara, thank you for another gun show. Hopefully, to hope to see you in our next show. Cricket going on. There's 4-day cricket currently going on. So yeah, thank you for the great show, and I'll see you on another show on our next show. And to everyone watching, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And yeah, thank you for the support, and cheers.
Cheers.